Yeah. Ask her what's wrong with the phone. I want my
I don't know if it'll show on your screen, but I changed it.
I'm sure there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, everything that's in there, there's something.
Will this distract you for a little bit and keep you happy? No.
I want to take a minute and talk about the importance of building relationships. It is really important. There are pawn shops that I work with where I pop in just to say hi sometimes. I give them Christmas gifts. Usually everybody gets a $100 gas card from me for Christmas. I take care of people who take care of me. It's very important to build relationships. And through that, I got a huge purchase. I'm gonna make a ton of money. You just saw that markdown, 85% off of a $4,500 purchase at a pawn shop. This stuff never really hit the sales floor. It was stuff they had waiting in the back room just for me. So you ready to see what it is? A whole box of stuff. Now it may not look like much at first, but there are probably 10 or 15 iPads in here. There's a ton of iPods and iPhones. Now, see that iCloud lock? All of this stuff is supposedly broken, but I can make a ton of money selling it for parts on eBay. However, some of it isn't broken. For example, this Samsung Gear watch works perfectly fine. I had someone who has a Samsung phone pair it to their phone. No issues. It receives calls, it sends texts, touchscreen, everything works on it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Left it on overnight, holds a charge. I shut it off this morning. It is perfectly fine. It's got the original Samsung charger. This right here should make me $100. I've got an Apple Watch here. It won't boot up or anything. It just, when I turn it on, it shows the Apple logo and that's it, and that's how it sits forever. So it probably has some sort of an issue. I should be able to get around $60 for this on eBay, but in the box also is the charger. These things, I should be able to get 25 bucks for this charger alone. So that should be good money. All of this on eBay. Coming back over to the box, I've got another Apple Watch. It works perfectly fine, but it is iCloud locked. Great for parts though, unless these can be unlocked somehow. I should be able to, again, get about 60 bucks for it. And there's a charger for it somewhere in this box as well. Right here. What else? I tested a few things. This Amazon Echo Dot right there. It seems to work perfectly fine. It just keeps telling me that it can't connect to the internet because I never set it up. So I'm going to set it up on the internet and see if it works. And I honestly have no clue what these things go for on eBay. I would assume the pawn shop was selling it for $45. So maybe 30 bucks or so. I really don't know. These iPods, there's a whole bunch of them. I don't see a hard drive size on it, but you know, I can't imagine I couldn't get 30, 40, 50 bucks a piece for them. You know, it was $179.99. I got 85% off of that. So I paid a little bit on this one. I paid like $27 or so. Not too bad here, 27 for this. I should probably get 40 or 50 bucks. But here's the exciting part, and I noticed this with some items, because they had been in their inventory for so long, the prices actually dropped before I got the discount. For example, this MacBook Pro, that's right, I got a MacBook Pro. The price was $1,000, so I expected to pay 150 bucks for it. For parts, they seem to be selling on eBay anywhere from $300 to $500, but I paid less. When he scanned it into the system, it had already dropped to $699, and then I got it for 85% off. So it actually cost me about 100 bucks. Now, I tested this out. It did come with a charger. It works perfectly fine. I can't find any issue with this. So I am going to bring it into a place that knows a lot more about these computers than I do and have them look at it just to be sure. It is the mid-2012 Retina iPad or MacBook Pro. A couple little dents on it, but it doesn't seem to affect anything. I was playing around with it. It all works perfectly fine. It is not iCloud locked. So I'm going to have an expert take a look at it before I sell it. But this should make me my money back just with this. Digging back in here, there was a MacBook Air. This was, I believe, a 2013 model. The only issue is it's iCloud locked. It's on someone's iCloud account. Now, first, it was password protected, and I did some Googling, and it's not hard to change the password without knowing it. You go into utilities or something, boot it in recovery mode, and you can change the password, and that's what I did. So I was able to log into their account on here. Unfortunately, you can't get rid of an iCloud lock on a MacBook. At least I don't think. I know you can't on an iPhone, so I'd assume it's the same for a MacBook. So what I'm going to do, the person is still logged into their Facebook, their resume's on there, so I've got all their contact info. I'm going to find her on Facebook, and I'm going to shoot her a message and say, hey, I just picked this up, it's broken, or I just picked this up for parts from Pawn America. It has all of your personal information on it. And I'm going to try and guilt her into meeting me up and taking that iCloud lock off of it just by putting in her password. Therefore, I can reset it and sell it as a perfectly fine iPad Air. Now, I don't know what I'll get for it. Their price was $659.99. It ended up dropping and being cheaper before my discount, just like the other one. So I probably paid about $80 to $100 for it. I would assume I could probably get $400 or so for this one if I can get it back to usable condition. Now, if she doesn't want to just meet up and take the password off, you know, it's possible. I'm trying to guilt her into it, saying, you got all this personal information on it. You don't want that getting out once I sell this thing. If you take the password off, then I can go in and wipe it clear, wipe all your information off before I sell it. If she doesn't take the bait there, if she doesn't offer to meet up with me and change the password, then I'll offer to pay her. I will happily pay her $50 to $100 to get her to take that passcode off. Now, she has a budget on there, so I know that she does not make a lot of money and she has a lot of bills. So, $50 could mean a lot to her. For whatever reason, she just never responds or refuses to do it or what have you, then I'm out of luck. But it works perfectly fine. I can, make some money selling it for parts. I would assume I could probably get $200-300 for that thing for parts. I didn't really look it up. Another little fact here, there is a little bit of risk. It is possible that it was stolen from her and then pawned. And if I tell her, hey, I got your laptop, and she says, that was stolen, obviously I would need to turn it over to her. But if that's the case, then I would work with the pawn shop and I'd work with the police department to attempt to get some sort of restitution. Either way, if I lose it, I'm willing to take the gamble because I'm going to make so much money on all this other stuff. Now we've got this iPad. It's an old one. I think it's the first generation. 32 gigabyte. It's a little beat up. $49.99 plus 85% off. So I paid like $7 for this thing. And it seems to work perfectly fine. It's not iCloud locked. It's not on an iTunes account. There's no passcode on it. It's all reset. So I don't know what's wrong with it. Everything seems to work. I did not plug it in, so the charger port hasn't been tested. The headphone jack hasn't been tested. And I don't know if this is a 3G model or just Wi-Fi, so it could have a bad ESN if it's a 3G model. But if it works perfectly fine, I could probably get myself $50 to $100 for it. If not, honestly, on eBay for parts, I could probably still get $40-50 for this thing, for the screen and all the other internal parts, because it works perfectly fine. I got 13 iPods and iPhones. I would assume I'm going to average somewhere around $50 a piece for them. Maybe some of them work fine, maybe not. This one simply doesn't. It says it won't hold a charge. So I don't know if they actually test this or if it's just the customer says it and they just say, agree with it and throw it in. So I'll test these all out. But at worst case, I should be able to get about $50 each for parts. So there's that. These will probably pay for everything. I got two Microsoft Surfaces. This one, I don't have the cord for it, so I'm actually gonna need to buy the cord to test it. First, I'm gonna go to the pawn shop and see if they have one laying around in that box that I didn't see. $500. I don't really know what I paid for it. I'll have to check. But, I'm sure I can get some good money. The screen doesn't look damaged at all, so we'll see about that. This one comes with the keyboard, although the keyboard is in really rough shape here. This one, I can't find it, but there was a note attached to this that said they stuck in a reboot loop or something like that, a reset loop maybe. I am going to bring it to a repair shop and see if it's a quick and easy fix. If it's something that costs me just a couple of bucks, I might do it and sell it as a perfectly working Surface. I haven't powered it on to test it out. I need to charge it up first though. I've got 9 iPads. None of these look like they have broken screens. Obviously this one, it says iCloud locked. I will double check that to verify it. This one comes with a keyboard and it has the previous owner's phone number on it. I'm not going to show it, but if it is iCloud locked, I'll try and contact them. There's these 8 right here, and then the one that I showed you a minute ago that I think is perfectly fine, making 9 iPads. I did test this white one here and it has a passcode on it, so I can't really do anything with it with that passcode, but it would make a good parts tablet. I would assume I could probably get maybe $100 each for these, maybe a little less for some of the minis. It's easy money here. And lastly, I get a Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. Screen is perfectly fine. It does say that it's on a contract right now, so it has a bad ESN, will have to be sold for parts, but this thing works perfectly fine. So I really don't know what these go for. Maybe I can get $75, $100 for it. Great for parts, or if someone wants to flash it. And then some other odds and ends cords. This one is actually broken, so I'm just gonna throw this away. But this is the cord for both MacBooks have one cord that works for both of them. So I'm gonna need to order a replacement if I sell them both as working units. A couple other odds and ends in here, a few random power cords here for the tablets and the phones. At this point, I have no clue what I'm going to get for all this stuff, but I know I'm going to make a ton of money. I think I'm probably going to get somewhere in the range of $2,000 to $3,000 for everything. Subtract what I paid for it, the $600 and some odd dollars. Let me see if I can find the receipt here to get you an exact total. $668.64. So I'm going to make some good money on this stuff. So with a little research, this iPad is a Wi-Fi model. It's the original iPad. It has no issues with it. I tested everything. It works perfectly fine. Battery's still really low, but everything's perfectly fine on it. So it's worth about $50. There's literally nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't have a charger, and I've got a few of those laying around. This iPad Air, with a little bit of Googling, I've found what appears to be a fix. Completely resetting the thing, reinstalling the OS. Now, I am not a techie person. I know very little about computers and in no way claim to know what I'm doing here. But I Googled, how do I remove an iCloud account from a previous owner on my MacBook? And I got this website here, right from Apple, and it basically explains it all right here. For someone like me who doesn't really know computers very well, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it was in no way difficult. You know, just a couple things, figuring them out, I was able to get this, what I'm assuming is going to be perfectly fine. In fact, that's how I bypassed the password. I found a way to change the password in there just by Googling. I don't know how to do this stuff. So if any of you, and I've talked to a lot of people who say, oh, I don't know computers, I don't know technology, I couldn't do that. Well, it's not hard to Google. And from some people that I know who work in IT, that's all they really do anyways, is Googling. So I'm resetting this. If it works and iCloud is off of it and it's sellable as a good, working, ready-to-use MacBook, then I am going to order a new charger for it. Now this Microsoft Surface does not have a charger, so I don't know what's wrong with it, but I am going to bring it into a local computer repair shop and see if they have a charger for it so we can at least test it. I'm bringing this Microsoft Surface to a repair shop because this comes up, an error message. Every time I click OK, it just restarts back to this, and that's kind of what this note that came with it said, aired out on reset. I can't really find much information about this by Googling it. Every single thing that I find wants me to open a command prompt to fix this, and I don't know how to open a command prompt with the keyboard. Shift F10 is how you do it on here, but this doesn't have any of the function keys. So I'm gonna bring this in. This tablet is actually only worth about $20 for parts. It really isn't worth much. So, but working, it's a good $100. So if I can get it fixed for like $20, if it only takes him a minute to quick do something that is over my head, I will absolutely do that. and then I'll have a perfectly good working tablet, and that one does come with the charger. Now, fun fact, this one that's missing the charger, it actually has the charger. I found the exact charger for it at the Goodwill outlet, genuine Microsoft Surface charger for it. Probably paid a nickel for it, and just sold it like a week ago. So that kind of sucks. But I'm gonna see if they can test this before I order a charger. I found an aftermarket for like $12.99. If it works perfectly fine, then I'm going to throw in, get a charger for it and sell it as a working item. If it has an issue, then I'm just going to sell it for parts like this without spending the money on a charger. I didn't look what that one's worth. This is the Surface Pro 3, so it's worth, I would assume, a little bit more. I mean, the price tag on it was $499. The other one, the price tag on it was $149, and it's, I think, the original Surface, 32 gig Surface Windows RT, whatever that means. All right, we are all set up as a new MacBook. If we go in here and look at iCloud, you can see it is no longer attached to an iCloud account. So the pawn shop was originally trying to sell this for $659.99. I got it for $89.10 because the price dropped to $593. So the price dropped about $50 just because it sat for so long. This is an automatic thing they do in their system. And then with my 85% off, I saved $504. I paid $89.10 for this laptop. Here's the interesting part. This took me an hour to do with very, very little computer knowledge. And, when I say it took me an hour to do, I mean, it took me like 3 to 5 minutes to do, and then I had to leave it sit and do its own thing for about an hour or so. And now I have a perfectly good MacBook Air right here. So that means I'm going to have to order a charger for it, and I think I could probably get, about $500 or so for it, maybe $400. It is the mid-2013 11-inch MacBook Air, 4 gigs of RAM. I blocked out the serial number just since this is going on YouTube. Storage, it is a 121 gigabyte hard drive. I don't know if that doesn't seem like a normal number, but it could be because I partitioned the hard drive, whatever that means. But hey, works for me. So I'm starting to list stuff, and this Galaxy S6 Edge, just sold with a best offer of $140. Like minutes after listing it, I got hit with a ton of offers on it. Shipping should be in the range of $3, and it was an $8.40 eBay fee. I'm not sure what the PayPal fees are, but that's overall going to be about $127, $128 after shipping and fees, which is almost 20% of what I paid for everything. Also, I only paid $15.60 for it. And I just sold the MacBook Air for $300 cash. I could have got more on eBay, but I'd prefer the cash. It's, no eBay fees, less hassle, it's cash in the pocket. So that brings the total within hours of listing everything up to $420 on my $668 purchase. So this is going really quick. So it is now Sunday. I took yesterday, Saturday off. I bought all this Thursday night, so I started listing it Friday morning. Friday is when I sold the Samsung phone and the Apple MacBook. And I only listed 5 items on eBay and then the MacBook locally on Facebook. Today I just started listing a couple of other things, but over the course of the weekend, between the remainder of Friday and all day Saturday, I sold 2 iPad minis, an iPhone, and an Apple Watch. Now I also sold an iPod, which the buyer requested right away to cancel it. They didn't read the listing and saw it was broken, so I relisted that. I also sold another Apple Watch, same circumstance, canceled it and relisted it. So that covers almost everything that I listed on Friday, with the only exception being the 2 items that were canceled. Now today I started listing a couple items. So far I've listed 2 items, and one of those has sold, an iPad Air that sold for $155. So going down the list, I already mentioned $300 and $127 for the MacBook and the Samsung phone. After shipping and fees, I will get $139 for the iPad Air. I will get $41 for each iPad mini. I will get 66 after shipping and fees for the watch and 43 for the iPhone. I think I mentioned that an iPhone sold as well that had, I believe, a bad ESN, or maybe it was iCloud locked. All of these are being sold for parts or repair. I'm very clear on the listings, and you can usually tell on most of them that the buyer knows what they're getting because their username is something like iPhone repair or something like that. So at this point, after shipping and fees, now a lot of this stuff hasn't shipped out yet, so I'm just estimating what I expect the shipping to be, but I've got an exact number on the fees. I will get $757, or I should say I've already received that. This isn't Amazon where I have to wait 2 weeks to get paid. I get paid when the buyer pays on eBay. It goes right into my PayPal account with instant availability. So I'm like 50 bucks ahead, 50, 70 bucks or so ahead now, just a few days later, and I haven't listed any of this stuff yet. I've got a MacBook, a bunch of iPods. I think there's more. No, there's no more under there. But a bunch of iPods and iPhones, a MacBook, 2 iPads sitting here, the Echo. I've got this, which I mentioned works perfectly fine. I haven't listed it yet. This iPad 1, which works perfectly fine, hasn't been listed yet. Another iPod, which I am going to try and see if there's a way I can remove that. This one is the same thing. I'm going to see if I can remove that, and if I can on either of these, maybe they're not iCloud locked. They probably are, and if they are, obviously there isn't much I can do about it, but I'll try to remove those. And then I've got the 2 Surfaces which still need to be tested. And over here in my still not locking cabinet, that one sold, this one sold. I believe that's the other one that sold. One of these 2 sold, and then the other one is still available. All of this stuff is available except for, I think this. Yeah, this is the phone that sold for $50. This is the one that sold and was canceled. It was actually that watch that sold, and the buyer's going to get it. So if you discount those, we got all this stuff still available. Of course, some of these things did not come from this lot. I don't know what came from where, but some of this came from a different purchase. So right after filming, I saw this. Just a random bag here. It says Samsung watch. This is the only Samsung watch that I bought. So I'm not sure what the deal is. I looked it over very intently here. I turned it, off and on. I had the screen all lit up. I cannot find any burnt pixels or any issues whatsoever. So I don't know if they just took the customer's word for it without testing it, threw it in the bag and put it in their parts bin or what. But, I'm comfortable selling it like this. Obviously, if it gets returned for this reason, I'll probably sell it for parts. But I don't see any issues with it, so we should be good to go. I just sold another iPad on eBay for $90 before shipping, so off the top of my head, I should get, I don't know, 75 bucks or so after shipping and fees, maybe 70. Putting me even further ahead, I also found an iPad mini, and I'm almost done processing all of the iPads. There's only one left, but I did find an iPad mini that is iCloud locked, but we're able to see the person's personal information, so I'm able to contact them. I sent her a message on Facebook to simply ask her to go online to Apple's website and remove her iCloud account. And I kind of said, we're going to send it overseas, and it could have all of your personal info on it, photos and text messages and emails, which is on there. I would like to have it wiped just for, that purpose. But also, if we can get it wiped, it'll be a perfectly good tablet that I can sell for probably around $100. If not, I just sold 2 of them the other day for $50 each. I'm getting about 35 or so, 35, 40 after shipping and fees. Now I remember it was 41 each after shipping and fees, so we'll go that route if we have to. And literally just as I was filming that video, that clip, I just sold another iPad Air, iCloud locked, or actually I think this one was passcode locked. I couldn't get through the passcode. There's a website, I think it's Apple's website, that shows how to bypass it by putting it into recovery mode, but it wasn't working. Couldn't get into recovery mode, so I listed it. I got $180 for it, so it's probably about $150, $160 after shipping and fees. So we may be at the point where we're doubling our money by the end of the day. And moments after filming that, I just sold another iPad for $175, which should net me around $160 to $155, somewhere in that range after fees. We're having a really good day here with this lot. You know, these broken iPads, we're probably selling them a little bit less than what I could get for them, but I'm selling them so quick, just days after buying all this stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if I've already doubled my money. The first generation iPad just sold $75 locally. The reason I chose that route is because they're going for about $50 to $60 online. And that's one of those things that seem to sell for a little bit more locally. You know, if I could sell it for $75 on eBay, but then I'm paying fees, I'm paying shipping, and for a working tablet, it's always going to, especially an iPad, it's always going to sell quicker online. I'll give you a good example. I got a couple of generic off-brand no-name tablets in a shipment once, and they were like 25, 30 bucks on eBay. It was brand new, but it was an open box, so I'd have to sell it online as used. Well, locally, I was able to quickly get $50 each for them. That's just the market for tablets. But I got 75. Now I will add that since I didn't have a charger for it, I had to throw one in, and I happen to have a brand new Staples brand iPad charger laying around here that I threw in with it. It cost me nothing. It came on a shipment, and it was about to get sent off to auction, so I wouldn't have really gotten much for it anyways. So I got that sold. I have somebody thinking about possibly buying the Samsung watch, and the lady who used to own the iPad that's currently iCloud locked is willing to meet up and take her information off of it. My guess is she actually sold it to the pawn shop rather than pawned it and just lost it, because she seemed perfectly fine. They said it was all erased, they said it was good to go, so she's willing to meet up with me to get that taken off of, so we should be able to get another $100 for that one locally. So this is the iPad that's currently attached to an account. For privacy reasons, I'm not going to show you, the person's contact info or anything, but you can see it's got emails in here. There are photos when I open that up. Now this one is another iPad mini that I just found, and I looked right here. There's no passcode on it. Under iCloud, it's not attached to an account, and iTunes is not attached to an account. Now this is the cellular version, so it's Wi-Fi and cellular. You can tell by this black bar on the top. So I do need to check the IMEI or ESN just to make sure it is off of the previous owner's account. But as long as it's clear to activate, we're good to go here. Now there are 3 places I check. The first place I always check is Verizon Wireless. When I go to their website, I go to Shop, Phones and Devices, and Bring Your Own Device, and then I can enter the IMEI. Now this has changed around a lot. It used to just be something on the home page to check an ESN. So it's moved around quite a bit, so this may no longer be the case depending on when you watch it. But as of April of 2017, that's how you do it. Now it says it is not compatible with the Verizon network. So that could mean it has a bad ESN, or simply it's not compatible. Maybe it's a Sprint iPad. But this would be green if I could activate it, and if Verizon would let me activate it, that means it is good to go. Now, because it said it is not eligible, the next place I check is Swappa. This is where a lot of people check it. Swappa.com/ESN. I don't trust this website because it's a third-party website. I've even looked up my own phone that's attached to my account, and it told me that it's free and clear to activate. So I don't necessarily trust it, but if this said that it cannot be activated, it probably can't. So it says it is clear to activate. It also shows that it's got some AT&T ones here. So I just did a Google search for AT&T device lookup or something like that, and I entered the information, and it says, "Congratulations, your iPad mini with Wi-Fi and cellular is compatible." And then it asked me if I want a SIM card, which obviously I don't because I'm not going to connect it. So this iPad is actually good to go. It's a perfectly fine, ready-to-use iPad. Now, I did buy this they implied that everything was broken in some way or defective in some way. So it is possible maybe the battery doesn't hold a charge or something, but everything seems to work. The only thing I have left to test is the battery, which I need to leave it charged for a little bit in order to test it. One quick way to test it is to unplug it. And As of now, it hasn't shut off, so it does seem to be holding a charge. We'll see how long that lasts, but it's only at 9%, so I'm going to plug that in a little bit longer and see if I can get that tested. Here's another item that was in there. This one does have a bad battery. So as soon as I unplug it, well, never mind. It shut off last time. So maybe it does have a good battery, it just doesn't last so long. So that might have been a bad example. It died right away when I unplugged it before. So I'm listing it. You can see how that's just draining there. It's already dropped a little bit. So it has a bad battery. We are going to sell this for parts on eBay and see what we can get for it. I think it's like 30 bucks-ish. And still Sunday, I sold the iPod Nano with the bad battery for $30. That should net me about $20 after shipping and fees. Alright, we've tested a few more iPods. This one, perfectly fine. It is not locked in any way. It's good to go. It is the newest model, the 6th generation. It's a 32 gig iPod Touch. I think I can get about $125 to $150 for it. It is perfectly fine though, and I'm very tempted just to keep it for myself. I've got an iPod Nano right now, so it would be an upgrade. We've got one of these was this one here. This one is iCloud locked, so we will sell that one for parts. This is the 5th or 6th generation, 16 gigs, so this is the newest model as well. I should be able to get about $50 for. This is one model behind. We just plugged it in. We'll see what it does. And this one, I could have sworn was just on. Maybe not. So maybe I just plugged this one in. So this one will get tested and we'll see what happens. We also have this 6th generation iPod that will not power on. Unfortunately, it doesn't say the size on here, so I'm not sure. But it won't power on, so I don't know anything about it. We're selling it for parts. I just listed it for $60. Alright, this is one of the last items that needs to be tested, an iPhone 4. We've got another one over here plugged in. Let's see if it's powered on yet. Oh, it has enough power. So we will do a little more tests on that. But all these sales have brought us to almost $7,000 for a 60-day total. And I came back here and looked at these. This is the one that we were getting the iCloud removed by the previous owner. And this is the one that was perfectly fine, had no issues whatsoever. I've had them unplugged for a little while. Both have solid battery life, so there's absolutely no issues with either of them, as long as we can get this one unlocked. I just sold the Galaxy Gear smartwatch for $80 cash, plus this game, a partial trade. I'll get $28 for this game after fees on Amazon, and it's going to sell really fast. So that totals about $108. 80 of it in cash right away, so that's pretty good. I guarantee you at this point, without adding it up right now, we've done more than double our money. Alright, I'm officially done for the day. I'm a little tired. It's 6:30. I just sold the iPad that worked perfectly fine, the one that was good for Wi-Fi and 4G with AT&T. I got $150 cash for it. So I mean, it's just amazing. I've gone through and tested everything except for one Microsoft Surface that does not have a power cord. And out of everything, 5 items were perfectly fine, exactly as they sat with, you don't even need to do anything. The iPad that I just sold, the Samsung Galaxy Watch, the iPad 1 that I sold earlier today, the MacBook Pro, which the $1,000 MacBook that has no issues whatsoever. I was amazed at that one. And lastly, there was an iPod, which I'm still in debate whether or not I'm keeping it. All of those items perfectly fine, absolutely no issues whatsoever. There was also the iPad mini that had no issues, but it was iCloud locked. The previous owner seems very eager to come and get her content off and clear it out. So, one phone call and Pawn America would have had a perfectly good iPad. In addition to that, there was the MacBook that had a password on it and was iCloud locked. 5 minutes of work and about an hour or so of my time letting it do its own thing, reset itself, and it's good to go. And I'm just in disbelief that they're this inefficient. I am very tempted to go back there tomorrow and buy the rest of the stuff that I turned down, because there were a lot of Samsung phones and tablets. So maybe we'll be doing that, maybe not. But that's gonna be it for this video. I will update in a later video if the Samsung or if the Microsoft Surface worked perfectly fine, or what the issue was there. We have done more than double our money, and we've still got a $1,000 MacBook that works perfectly fine. I am probably gonna walk away with about $2,000 profit once all is said and done. But we did more than double our money in a matter of a couple of days, and had I listed it all the first day I got it, we may have doubled our money immediately. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you later.